The year is 2013. Minecraft took the world by storm. When you go to school, people were talking about it. You go on YouTube, every video suggested it. And with the sales almost quadrupling the one from last year, it was clear that this game wasn't going anywhere. The next year, a small indie company that you never heard of before decided to capture the potential of Minecraft and bought it at a pretty neat price. At this point in time, the game had a couple other supports to play the game on. Pocket editions for phones, console editions for, well, consoles, and the classic PC version we are all familiar with. And while from a consumer point of view, this was a fine system, from a company point of view, they didn't like managing all these different supports. But with an up-and-coming technology, this problem may have been solved. Cross-platform was the solution to this problem. Okay, it wasn't exactly new, but it was extremely hard to implement and limited in its application, so no one bothered with it until then. With the ability to connect to other players using different hardwares, there was no need to manage multiple cores of the game, and thus, a new version of Minecraft arrived. Originally named Minecraft Windows 10 Edition, this version of the game sought to recreate Minecraft in a better way, using an easier coding language for development, while also preparing the field for the future Better Together update that will implement cross-platform, with the end goal of uniting every player under one roof. This was the release of Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Now fast forward to the present. Minecraft Bedrock Edition has been out for a decade, the original PC version is still alive and dominates the YouTube scene, and the majority of polls regarding the two versions always make something clear. Bedrock sucks. Java is better. Which really makes you think, what went wrong with Bedrock Edition? Before answering that, let's make something clear. Bedrock is not a failed version. It even has more players than Java. This is entirely due to the fact that the player base of Bedrock mostly consists of console and mobile players who are unable to play Java Edition. But what is clear is that the players that have access to Java Edition would rather stay away from Bedrock, and the players that have made the switch from console to PC often choose to go with Java. So, what gives? Truth be told, I've never played Bedrock Edition prior to making this video. As a matter of fact, I didn't even care about this version. But I did say this in a previous video. Wish Bedrock players could say the same. Might have to test this version one day. Which led me to only play Bedrock Edition for a month, all day, every day, while also completely annihilating my upload schedule. And while doing so, I was surprised by how different the game was, despite, you know, being the same game. Actually, let's talk about this. If you don't know what parity is, it's basically trying to make two things equal, or similar for that matter. In that case, how similar is Bedrock compared to Java? Well, they're not very similar. You don't even have to do much to see the differences. You can probably rack up about 10 changes within the first 5 minutes. Actually, let's test that. The white fog at a distance creeps up a lot more than on Java. There is a little pick of your skin on the top left. The hand is slimmer. Steve can blink. Dropping tools makes a sound. The blocks that you drop covers your screen a lot more. Water is more opaque. Trees can have vines. There's no attack cooldowns in between hits. And sprint jumping makes you look like a complete idiot. Well, why does it look like this? But yeah, like I said, 10 changes within 5 minutes. Okay. The game doesn't feel the same, but these are harmless changes, so what's the problem, you might say? And while individually these changes are indeed small or even harmless for the most part, but there's just so much differences between the two versions that it just adds up. How much differences are we talking about? About a couple hundreds! And I don't think I need to explain why this is absurd. There is a reason why people can make multiple 30-minute long videos listing Bedrock changes and still teach you new stuff about it. You could brush this criticism off saying, well okay, the gameplay experience doesn't feel or play the same, but who cares, it's still the same game. No! The problem is that some changes are so different that they outright give you a completely different experience. And for every good change on Bedrock, I can name about 3 bad ones as well. Want to bone me sugarcane? Well, say goodbye to sweeping edge, toggle sprint and hotkeys. But hey, this isn't an here's 159 changes between Bedrock and Java video, so I'll just give you 3 changes that I think completely changes the experience. And if you want to know everything, just check out the wiki. We're still scrolling, by the way. Game-breaking change number 1. In Bedrock, you have access to your second hand. That's great, but only for very few selected items. That's terrible. The items being shields, totems, maps, arrows, and fireworks. But in order to use the shield, you have to crouch? Who thought this was a good idea? And get this, fireworks don't even work in that hand. You have to use your main one. Honestly, I can't even be mad at this one. It's just mwah, peak game design right here. The issue with that is that it makes every task in the game so inconvenient to do compared to Java, with the most extreme example being fixing tools with mending. On Java, you just put the item you want to repair in your second hand, and then you farm up the XP you needed to fix it. Easy as pie. On Bedrock though, you either have to farm a large amount of XP at once, so you have enough time to switch between the tool you're using to to farm the XP and the tool you want to repair, or get good at switching items rapidly so you can collect the most XP with your broken tool. But that alternative is only really effective if you play on the PC version, because on Bedrock it's just slower, or you have to put the item you want to repair next to the tool you're using to farm it, which is just another inconvenience. Like, I don't get it, just allow Bedrock players to use the second hand. Why does it need to be different? Game-breaking Bedrock change in number 2. On both versions you can have access to the Nether roof, but only in one of those versions can you actually build on it. And you guessed it, in Bedrock you cannot build on the Nether roof. So there's really no point of getting there unless you want to get stuck, I guess. If you ever watched the full hardcore Java series, then you already know why this is a big problem. But if you don't, let me tell you what you're missing. Certain farms works a lot faster, or can only work on the Nether roof. Gold farms, Frogalites farms, and Hoglin farms, just to name a few, all benefit from being on the Nether roof. Building is a lot easier on the roof since it's safe from not only gas that can blow up your builds, but also from lava and copious amounts of netherrack. Speaking of netherrack, you also can't fast travel as efficiently without the roof. If you want to link a portal on the nether roof, you just build it and then make an ice path, optionally, to make traveling even faster. But inside the actual nether, you have to build the portal, cover it so gas doesn't turn off the portal, then you have to dig or build a tunnel linking the two portals, use ice, optionally, and make sure that the tunnels are covered so no mobs can enter. And if you plan to ditch the entire system using elytras and rockets, you have to use a lot more rockets to circumvent the terrain, while also making sure you don't goof up and end up in the lava, which I don't think I need to mention is a lot slower. In other words, one small change made a big part of the game inaccessible or hard for no reason. And when I say hard, I really just mean completely annoying. And the last horrendous change is Redstone, but I'll talk about it later because there is a lot to say. Those are problems that come in when you decide to implement different mechanics without giving it too much thought, or when you disregard parity as a whole. But then again, this is if you decide to implement them. This issue is similar to the parody one I just talked about, but this time, instead of having the same mechanics behave in a different way, we just have no mechanics. Which again, I'm confused as to why half of them aren't even included on Bedrock. But what are those missing features exactly? Here's a list of features that are on Java, but missing on Bedrock that I think impact the gameplay enough to make a difference. No hotkeys. This one was annoying me the entire time I was playing. While not all hotkeys are missing, you can still shift click or switch slot from 1 to 9, or even drag items for that matter, but there is a lot of other useful hotkeys that are just missing. Double click shift drags the same item no matter where it is, from a container to inside your inventory, and vice versa. Which makes transferring chests a pain because you can do that on Bedrock. Using a slot hotkey on an item doesn't drag the item into that slot, making plays like this
pearls don't fall faster.
completely impossible. And hotkeys that came in with other features are just gone. You can't put an item in your offhand by using a hotkey, you have to manually place it there. Want to screenshot your game? You idiot. Pick up your phone and take a screenshot yourself. This is 2025, we don't have those. You want more information on what's happening on screen with the debug menu? Well, too bad, it's missing. Thankfully, you can still use the coordinate, it is an option, but the other information that came with this debug screen, gone. No way to check how much FPS you have. If you're playing Skyblock and want to check the biome you're in, well, tough luck. No way to check if you lit a cave completely using the amount of entities. No way to tell if you're close to a cave even. Nothing. It doesn't sound like a lot, but look at it this way. Why would a Java player switch to Bedrock if he has less options? Why would a speedrunner move to Bedrock when his most important tool is being ripped away? They have no reason to do so. There's also a whole lot of commands that are missing on Bedrock. I know that it doesn't change much for me or anyone like me, but for the people that do use these commands, it is very annoying and another option that is being stripped away for no reason. And as of recording the voiceover for the script, I just remembered that I did use one of these commands for this specific part of this video. So ironically, I would have been indeed impacted by this. There is no entity cramming, meaning less options for farms. Trapdoors can retain water when waterlogged. Just another blow to some neat farms again. Where are spectral arrows? Not in Bedrock, and no spectral arrows mean no glow effect, which is an effect commonly used in public servers. Unlike Java, you can switch the version of the game, which is such a good feature, it was the topic of my first video on this channel. There is no minecart stacking. Yo, by the way, bro, can you bring me some wood? I forgot some at my house.
Yeah, I got you. What the?
No sharpness particles? Come on, man, that was the main icon of PvP. No QC. What a Redstone. No, I said I was going to touch on that later. Heck, Bedrock players doesn't even have the holiday features. Even this small gimmick can be enjoyed by Bedrock players. Now sure, the inverse is also true. There's cool features on Bedrock that are missing on Java, and there's more of them even. But in my opinion, the features that Java is missing aren't quite as impactful as the one that Bedrock is missing. And I don't really understand why they don't just add them. I mean, the code for Bedrock is better than Java, so in theory it should be way easier to add or polish stuff. Oh wait. Despite being a much more recent version than Java, Bedrock manages to be less polished than the 2011 game, or 2009 if you count the alphas. Now, what do I mean by a lack of polishing? By that I mean things that are not working properly, or just not well designed, or stuff implemented to the point where you would really think that they had like 2 minutes to code the thing. Now I know, it sounds a bit confusing, but hear me out, you'll understand what I mean. For example, let's take hitting things. You know, pretty basic. You click, it hits, pretty simple. And to avoid killing things too fast or sending anything to the sky, mobs and players have half a second of invincibility frames. Well, not every time. On random occasions, you can double hit not only mobs, but players as well. Now, some servers have fixed that issue, and to my understanding, this seems to happen more often when you click fast. But why is this an issue to begin with? It honestly looks like a bug, just like the fact that if you use a tool with high efficiency, you can double mine blocks, which again remove some polish, or worst of the worst, mobs hitting you from further away at random. What is that? Wait, they have a weird reach. Why? It honestly baffles me that this is a thing. And no, this can be a skill issue because it's completely random. There is no way to predict it. And speaking of mobs, the mob spawning in this version is a joke. On Java, mobs can't spawn next to you. They have to be a certain distance away, and they can only spawn so many at a time. And if you ask me, it's maybe a bit too scarce at times. But Bedrock has the complete opposite problem, where mobs spawn not only right next to you, like you can literally see them spawn in front of you, but they also spawn way too many of them. Like, this is not normal. And you know, I would be happy if the amount of mobs was the only change, but the fact that it's paired with a lack of safe spawn distance, and the fact that mobs can hit you from further away for no absolute reason, make this not challenging, but straight up bullshit. Like, if you're gonna take a trip to the Nether, you need to bring like 7 iron swords because there's so many mobs. Yo, what? And also because the durability is stupid. It already broke? Yeah, about that. For some reason, the faster you click on Bedrock, the more durability you're going to lose. This wouldn't really be a problem if Bedrock was using the 1.9 combat system, but they're still on the legacy combat. This is how you're supposed to play. And just to prove a point, I decided to compare the durability loss on both versions. This screen shows Bedrock and this screen shows Java on legacy combat. And as you can see, it's not even close. And the chat is also horrible. It takes up half the screen, so I tried to customize it expecting that I can do as much shit as on Java, except no, you can only choose the size of the letters or where you want the goddamn chat to be positioned. Who designed this? Okay, let's relax a little bit. Let's take a moment to calm down by pausing the game to make some tea. I'll be right back. I'm gonna become the Joker. Yeah, so pausing the game in single player doesn't actually pause the game. Everything is just kinda allowed to move. What the fuck? Oh, and the AI for Endermen are so random, you will need to actually try to get killed by them. You hit them, sometimes they run away, sometimes they teleport, and forget about you. For some reason, it's very easy to lose the aggro of Endermen. But on Java, these motherfuckers, they remember you. They're holding grudges. Hello? Oh, I don't like it when they do this.
You sent me a message first, yeah? I live in Citadel, Birmingham, if you want the fucking roll.
This reminds me, texture packs. You can't switch them in-game. You have to be in the main menu for that. On Java, you just bows. They're also not polished. It's kind of weird to explain this one, but when you shoot an arrow, the arc of it is kind of messy and unclear, and if I were to guess why, I would say that's because the bow is pretty much hit scan, meaning that wherever you're aiming, the arrow will hit. You don't have to compensate by taking gravity into account. Which, for shooting games, it makes sense, you can have both playstyles, But for a bow? Yeah, no, that's just weird. Your character running animation. Messy, like why is his legs so stiff? There's also a click speed limit on projectiles, and your pets can teleport to you if they begin swimming. Just don't call PETA on this one. The creative inventory is organized into 4 tabs that are just messy, while Java has 10 tabs, all organized. And finally, if you want to check the details on the status effect, you can't just open your inventory like on Java. You have to press the D-pad on console or click the effect square on the touchscreen. And if you're like me and you aren't playing on the touchscreen or on the console, well, good luck, cause you can't. There's probably more that I forgot, but hopefully you get the point. But oh boy, we aren't done with the issues. Yes, I know, this is the whole parody issue again, but the main difference is that when you take something as precise and vast as Redstone and change it, often for the worse, not only do you end up angering the Redstone community because you made a lot of their machines obsolete, but you also create situations where if you're making a new machine for everyone to enjoy, then you have to find a way to make it on both versions. And in some cases, you can't, so you just segregated both communities into doing their own little Redstone rituals. But I did say that the changes are for the worse, right? And yeah, this is rarely a debate because the majority agrees that despite Bedrock more simple Redstone, it's also just limited compared to Java. The ones claiming otherwise are just completely delusional. But what makes Bedrock Redstone worse then? Well, for a start, there is no quasi-connectivity, or QC for short, which is a way to power pistons, dispensers and droppers diagonally or one block up. And if it looks like a bug, it's because it is. The reason this happens is because when Mojang made pistons, they wanted to make their job easier by reusing the same codes they used for doors, which honestly is pretty smart because it was one of the few blocks that had an active and a passive state. But they seem to have forgotten something. Doors are... they're 2 blocks tall. Now that you know that, you can probably visualize what's happening in here. Fortunately for the Redstone community, this bug ended up being very useful, and Mojang recognized that, that's why they decided to keep it in the game all this time. And just to show how much more tedious Redstone can be without QC, this is a Jeb door. The donut of Blender, if you will. This is the contraption with QC, and this is the contraption without it. A lot more cumbersome, right? But this bug also has more features than just making machines compact. Some contraptions require QC to work, so you can probably imagine how not having QC can hurt the Redstone of Bedrock. Sadly, the lack of QC is not the only problem that Bedrock has. Some Redstone components just don't work the same way they do on Java. For example, Bedrock observers can detect things like leaves being attached to the logs, or even worse, note blocks, which is a great block to give an update without taking too much space. And as a matter of fact, the sand drooper I'm using in my skyblock world literally uses both leaves and old blocks to work. Then you have pistons that are slow, meaning that you can't unstick a block by powering it fast enough. Block updater are also non-existent, Redstone ticks aren't working the same, and I could explain what all of this means, but I'd rather let someone more knowledgeable than me explain the problem, my knowledge of Redstone being pretty basic. So go check out Purpler's video on the subject, it's a great video, cannot recommend it enough, link in the description. Although not everything about Bedrock Redstone is bad, like you can move container blocks unlike Java. Unlike Java, you can use transparent blocks and have Redstone go downwards using glass blocks. And you can also waterlog Redstone contraptions, which is perfect for idiots like me. No. Sadly though, the pros don't outweigh the cons, therefore there's no reason for Redstoners to want to switch versions. This is the only point of the video that is a lot more nuanced. So far I have only been talking on how Bedrock is inferior to Java, but in my opinion, the multiplayer aspect is better on Bedrock. This doesn't mean that there isn't some big issues, but I'll get into that later. Let's talk about the positives first. Inviting players to your world is quick and easy. You go to your friends list, invite them, bada bing bada boom, you guys can play. I would do that, but I don't have any friends. While on Java, if you want to invite someone, you either have to pay for a server or hack into the mainframe just to play with your friends. And while yes, more recent free alternatives have shown up, but they come with their own share of problems and nothing beats the simple click friend, invite friend button. This is if you want to play with your friends. But how about public servers? This is something I mentioned a while back in the video, but the current state of Java public servers is kinda sad now. And for pretty good reasons. Making servers is complicated, it's very expensive, there's a divide within the community between the people that prefer legacy combat and the people that prefer the updated one, and all sorts of stuff like this, but the latter problem is non-existent on Bedrock, because they never got the updated combat. So there's no divide there. Oh wait, I almost forgot the combat. Some people wish Bedrock had the updated combat, but and this is my personal opinion, I don't think it's a good idea. First of all, we all saw what happened with Java. If you update the combat over on Bedrock, especially this late into its lifespan, you will inevitably make half the players mad without having the option to experience the old combat again. Second, while the new combat certainly makes the single player experience more fun, it will not work well with PvP minigames that represents the majority of minigame servers. Also, in this current state, the single player experience will also have another issue, where you can't kill mobs fast enough and will get overwhelmed pretty easily. Remember that the spawn rates on Bedrock are cracked. And lastly, and this one is a more objective reason, but PC isn't the only support where you can play Bedrock on. Sure, on PC you could adapt to the combat just fine, but imagine doing that on a console, or worse, on a phone. And this is probably the main reason as to why the combat didn't change, and also because they probably saw how controversial it was. Java's multiplayer is small with not a lot of choices, that is if you decide to play on servers that aren't pathetic cash grabs. But not only does Bedrock have more choices, okay, maybe not too much choices, but definitely more than Java, but it also has a lot more players. Like I said at the start, Bedrock is the most played version, so you also have a lot more players. Just look at the minigames. On the Hive, a lot of them have the same amount, if not more players than Java servers. Some of you probably noticed something. The Hive. Wasn't that a Java server? And you would be right, some Java servers like CubeCraft decided to make the switch from Java to Bedrock because Bedrock not only has more tools to help them create stuff, but it's also cheaper and they can monetize the content better. And don't take it from me, take it from the Hive's owner. He has stated before that it costed him as much money hosting the server for 3,000 Java players than 30,000 Bedrock players. That's 10 times more players. About those tools. What am I talking about exactly? Well, I'm talking about stuff like NPC models being able to be built out of voxels with animations, custom GUIs, a proper built-in transaction system to sell the cosmetics, which you can buy with mine coins, which is the currency you use in the marketplace. Oh god, the marketplace. When people think of the big problems of Bedrock, the marketplace usually is one of the first things that comes to mind, and for good reasons. On paper, the marketplace is awesome. Servers and modders can monetize their content directly without relying on donations. Microsoft takes a 30% cut and the players gets access to the content. Everyone's happy, right? Wrong! The marketplace is filled with so much garbage, low effort, overpriced cash grabs, but it did get better over the years. When researching more information about the marketplace, one of the main complaints was that it was way too hard to find the good stuff because it was just overwhelmed with all the garbage. You know, the whole Mario Maker effect. Except that stuff isn't free. But now the good stuff is being put at the forefront of the store, which is great, don't get me wrong, but there's still no proper quality control, creating an unexpected side effect. That side effect being, people won't bother finding things outside of this page because you'll just stumble upon all the garbage. So if you have a really high quality mod or map and you aren't at the forefront, well, you're just kinda fucked. But this is Microsoft we're talking about. Greed is in the name of the game, and the issues with the marketplace can usually be traced back to greed. The marketplace pass, trash. It only gives you the impression of getting a lot, but the stuff you get would most likely be stuff you'll never use anyway. And if you use the free trial, it will subscribe to you to that pass, so you need to cancel manually the next month, otherwise you're getting charged. Copyright infringements? You bet there's some. So many skins, mods, even maps are ripped from all sorts of IPs without any permission. And the reason nothing is being done about it is because Microsoft pretty much shifted the responsibility from them to the publishers of these add-ons. If you use an IP, then Microsoft will just assume that you have the right to do so. I won't bother checking out if that's actually true or not. Of course, this isn't an honest mistake, right? Microsoft doesn't truly believe that the world is all sunshine, lollipops, and they did this purely out of greed because these stolen content are the one making the most money. And by shifting responsibility, they avoid getting in trouble for it. And it hurts the good add-ons more than the bad ones because the good add-ons ask for a lot of more resources to make. That's another reason as to why you see a lot more bad stuff too. Why bother making something good and innovative that requires hundreds of hours and resources when you can just take something already existing, like skins, modify them a little bit, and call it a new? And that reminds me of something else. But okay, let's say that you don't care about what's happening behind the scenes, and you only care about the add-on itself. You're looking for the marketplace for a mod to spice up your game. You look left and right, and oh, you accidentally bought the mod. Yup, in the big 2025 we don't have confirmation buttons on purchases. And sure, misclicking on the purchase button is a pretty rare occurrence, but this shouldn't happen. There shouldn't be a risk in the first place. The marketplace has so much potential, but the pure greed and mismanagement of Microsoft just ruins the entire thing for everyone. And instead of being a good addition, it's easily one of the worst things about Bedrock Edition. With all the things that I said, you might think that Bedrock is the worst game of all time. But this isn't true at all. Sure, I still wholeheartedly believe that Java is the better version, and sure, I did just spend almost 30 minutes flaming it, but this doesn't mean that there's nothing good about Bedrock. And just to prove a point, here's all the things that Bedrock has that I wish we had on Java. Bridging at the front, it's just so much more convenient than shift, go behind block, place blocked, repeat. Winter mode, it creates a really cool ambience in snowy biomes. It looks really good. Sheared sheaves will keep a bit of dyed wool to signal which color they were prior to getting sheared. On Java, they just become white after being sheared. Earlier, I mentioned 2 redstone quirks that I would really like to see on Java. You can also put leads on a boat and on walls. Perfect for transporting animals. Also, the game is way more optimized, meaning a lot less lag. If I tried loading as many chunks on Java, then my PC would kinda just break down. Potions can store potions and dyes. I don't know how useful that is, but it looks sick. Armor stands have a lot more features, like holding items or doing poses. You can bone near sugarcane to help it grow faster. And my favorite change, allow, deny, and border blocks. Not because I use them a lot or something like that, but because I can see so much potential for map makers, especially for things like escape games. Now, are these changes enough to convince me to switch versions? No, absolutely not. But it doesn't have to. Remember, both versions are being updated, and you have the choice to play on the version you like. For me personally, I don't want to switch because of the modding support of Java that is not only free, but also extremely rich. But if you're someone that just wants to chill with console friends or play on the Hive, then you can go for Bedrock. Or if you straight up like Bedrock more than Java, that's completely fine. I look at you a little weird, but I won't judge. And there's really no reasons as to why this Bedrock versus Java debate should get sour. Because at the end of the day, if there's one game that gives you the freedom of choice, it's Minecraft.
Wow, bro, really?
What?
You don't upload for 4 months, and you're gonna act like everything is normal. You think that a little nostalgic music is going to fix this?
Fine. Yeah, I brought the milk! So I've been working on this video since December of last year, and I had a very hard time making it. Adding parts, removing parts, so much so that at this point I'm not even sure the video is coherent anymore. You guys will tell me. I could have probably gotten this video out sooner, but I had a decent amount of stuff to do IRL, so it made it really difficult to focus on the video. But good news, I should get back to a normal schedule. Hopefully. I have something to announce though. Recently I upgraded my PC, and while transferring files I realized that I just have an entire clip folder filled with stuff ranging from 2017 to 2025. Going from glitches, cool action clips, or even funny moments.
What's that?
There is so much stuff to be shared here, and in the past I tried to tap in the short form content, but I didn't do much with it since I had no inspiration with it. But now, I actually have stuff to upload, so if you want to see some more stuff from me, on things that aren't just Minecraft, go follow my TikTok, link in the description.
Wow, bro, that's the best you can do, shorts.
You're in sometimes, look.
Now just kill me as well.
Psych, bitch! Suck it! Sold.
On that note, I hope you enjoyed this video, and while you're at it, check the other video that came with it. In here I show my reaction playing Bedrock for the first time, you know, as a little complimentary video to this one. With that being said, have a good day, I'll see you in hopefully not 4 months. Bye bye.